Good afternoon, friends. Stephen Ben-Nun here with Israeli News Live, and we have a very special guest today, and hopefully my wife will be on here in just a little bit. Meir Baruchin out of Tel Aviv. He is a civics teacher, and Meir ended up, what was it, Meir, 4 days in solitary confinement in jail because of just sharing the humanitarian side of the Palestinians and what they're going through and their sufferings that are happening. I assume mostly in Gaza, but of course, we also know the West Bank is also having a horrible issues going on there as well. So please introduce yourself to our audience and how also they can follow the work that you are doing.
Well, thank you for having me, Stephen. My name is Meir Baruchin. I'm 64. I was born and grew up in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And like many others who were born in the early 60s, I absorbed the values and concepts of the State of Israel education system. I got to know the Zionist narrative very well about land without people for people without land. From early age, I sang the sad Memorial Day songs from which we Jews were portrayed as the good guys. I shared the pain of the families whose children were killed in Israel's wars. Their portraits stared at me from the memorial walls at school. The books I read as a child and teenager gave me mixed feelings of pride. In those books, Arab figures were sometimes presented as evil and dangerous, and sometimes as ridiculous and stupid. I didn't know any Arabs, and certainly I didn't know the word Nakba, which means in Arabic huge catastrophe, disaster. Um, the literary Arabic I studied in high school did not really help me to communicate with Palestinians. These were classes intended to make the students to observe the Arabs through a wall of alienation, hatred, and hostility. I never heard anything about Palestinian refugees being expelled from their homes in Ramla or Lod. I didn't study about the Deir Yassin massacre in history class, but there were hints that something was missing in the historical story that was told to me and my friends, even when it was hard for me to understand them. For example, my teacher lived in a beautiful Palestinian house in Ein Karem neighborhood in Jerusalem. I remember the large rooms and the high ceilings, the stone arches, the decorated windows, and the fruit trees in the yard. I still remember the pleasant feeling of coolness in that house, even in the hottest days of summer. Um, I knew that those were Palestinian houses, but I didn't know what happened to the people who built and lived in those houses. When I asked the adults, they told me that they left. There was no clear story that tied all the details together. Why did they leave? Because of what? Where did they go? And what happened to them? I remember family trips to Jerusalem, to Bethlehem and Hebron. I remember the sites of refugee camps we passed on the way. All the hints of historical drama were there, right in front of my eyes. It took me many years to put the pieces of this puzzle together. In the Hebrew literature that I read, there appeared here and there hints of a Palestinian national catastrophe. For example, in the words of S. Izhar in his book Khirbet Chiza, in which the hero, an Israeli soldier who participated in the 1948 war, discovers that the residents of the Arab village are being driven from their homes, and he says to himself, exile, this is exile. We exile them. The poet Avot Yeshurun also knew something about the Nakba. In one of the interviews he gave, he said, I have one complaint against Hebrew literature. It did not fulfill its central role to inform us that there are Palestinians in Israel. Hebrew literature has role, but it did not fulfill its role. In one of Avot Yeshurun poems, he describes the Palestinian sailor who took him. I'm sorry. He describes the Palestinian sailor who took him off the ship that brought him to the shore of Jaffa. For him, the Jewish grandfather and the Arab sailor shared the same fate, and both were subject to effects of the same story. Yeshurun was one of the few who pointed out the connection between the Holocaust and the Nakba, without thinking that one disaster erases or justifies another. He was one of the few who saw the Palestinians of 1948 as victims of the Jewish fate. He noticed the tragedy of the persecuted and beaten nation becoming sovereign and finding it difficult to adopt patterns of compassion despite the memory of the hatred it suffered from other nations. I could also learn about the Nakba and the occupation that was its continuation through Dalia Rabikovich's poems, starting in the early 1980s. Rabikovich described in sharp words the Palestinian suffering in the refugee camp of Jabalia, Shati, Beta, and Khawara. Through her poems, I understood that the Nakba was not a one-time event that ended. The dispossession of Palestinians from their land and property has been going on for many decades and is still happening today. I'll put
Wow. Thank you so much, Mayor. This is my wife, Yana Ben-Nun, and Meir Baruchin is our guest that we have. I know you've been studying up about him a little bit yourself, so I'm going to let you chime in here just a moment here too, because talking about the Nakba and so few people in the world know about it. Yanka, I know you know a lot about that. If you could kind of briefly let the people know about the Nakba, and then if you would like to ask Mayor a little bit about that. By the way, it's like Golda Meir is how you pronounce his first name, and Bruachin is his last name.
Well, welcome here, Mr. Baruchin, to our program. Really, we are honored to have you here.
my pleasure, Yana.
Yes, and I don't know if you had a chance. I came in late because I was mixed up about the timing, Central, Eastern, and all of that. So I'm so sorry. But you did you have a chance to introduce Mr. Baruchin, Steve, that he is a
Yes,
civics
yes.
teacher?
Yes.
Yes, you did. Okay.
And
Well,
we haven't been on long. We only about maybe about 15 minutes or so. So we just got started here. So we kind of were chatting a little bit before getting going.
Well, I read about you, Mr. Baruchin, in Times of Israel and Guardian paper, where they imprisoned you in solitary confinement just for your post when you spoke up for how the Palestinians are treated. And I thought, well, you are incredibly brave Israeli. And certainly, I think you are among the minority because I'm also looking and studying the work of Gideon Levy. He is one of your,
Journalists of
yeah,
Haaretz.
from Haaretz. He's a very respected journalist. I really love his commentaries and according to him, about 80% or even more Israelis are not brave enough to speak up and they're kind of brainwashed by the government. And as I understand, the result is the generation that was educated in Israeli schools.
Yes.
And I don't know, do you know Miko Peled?
No.
Okay.
No.
His sister, she is a professor at a university. I'm trying to
Nurit
find.
Peled El Hanan. a good friend of
Yes.
mine. She
Oh,
testified for me in court.
I am so happy that you know her because I wanted to ask you, she wrote a book about
She, she,
propaganda.
she and her husband, Rami, are very good friends of mine.
Yes, I am so happy to hear this because long time ago, I read her book about propaganda in Israeli textbooks and how they brainwash Israeli children
Yes.
early on, how to treat Palestinians and are dehumanizing them. So I wanted your opinion and I wanted you to kind of talk to me a little about her work and your experiences with that.
Well, first of all, I also like to mention that Nurit and Rami Peled El-Hanan lost their daughter Smadar in a terrorist attack that took place in 1997 in Tel Aviv.
Yes.
Smadar was 14 at the time.
Yes.
But they never lost their humanity, you know. And I'm a civics teacher, okay? The core of my class is the dialogue with the students, the democratic dialogue. And you cannot have a democratic dialogue when everybody think the same way and speak in one voice.
Yes.
And when it comes to the relations between Jews and Palestinians, that's basically the situation. There is no student who is willing or capable of bringing up the Palestinian voice, so I take it upon myself. In the beginning, some students feel very uncomfortable because they are not used to hear the Palestinian voice. For them, the Palestinians are nothing more than a vague image. They are all terrorists. They have no name, no face, no family, no hope, no plans. So I'm trying to humanize the Palestinians. So maybe my students would be able to see the Palestinians as human beings and communicate with them in nonviolent way. And as I'm doing that, it's a long process. A beautiful dialogue develops, a dialogue that stays with the students years after they graduate. I get no, every year I get notes from former students that reminds me the classes from the past. So, and I also want my students to think, to develop their capabilities of thinking, not to be brainwashed by the national curriculum, but to challenge it.
Yes. I love that. I think you're an
I mean,
incredible human being.
people can tell me that I'm doing wrong in whatever they want. There is one thing that nobody can say, that my class is boring.
That that's true.
It's
Yes.
certainly not boring. Okay.
So you described the experience when you made that post. It was a public post that you made, and that's what got you in trouble, right?
I'm doing it for more than 15 years. I didn't start on October 7th, 2023. I'm doing it for more than 15 years. And my Facebook page was open to the public
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Mhm.
Everybody knew what I'm doing. But on October 7th, the municipality that is being ruled by an extreme right winger since 2018, a big supporter of Prime Minister Netanyahu, they targeted me for some years, okay?
Mhm.
And for them, it was a good opportunity, not to mention in the midst of municipal election campaign, okay, they could get more votes to target me and benefit from this whole affair. So on October 18th, 2023, I was called for a hearing,
Mhm.
which was really they didn't really want to hear what I had to say. The
Right.
next day, they fired me. And they also took some screenshots of 14 of my posts, most of them before October 7th, and they sent it to the Jerusalem Police Department and to the Ministry of Education. On October 24th, the Ministry of Education suspended my license, although there were other principals that were willing to hire me right away. Once the Ministry of Education suspended my license, I couldn't go back and teach anywhere in the country. On November 9th, tomorrow, it's 2 years, okay? I received a phone call from Jerusalem Police Department ordering to come over for interrogation. I asked on what charge. They said for incitement. On my way there, I called my lawyer, and he said that in order to interrogate an Israeli citizen, the police need an approval from the general attorney. Apparently, the police did ask for this approval, but was rejected. So they decided to interrogate me for two other charges. One, intention to commit an act of treason against the state of Israel. That's 10 years in prison. Two, intention to disrupt public order. The minute I walked into the police station, they cuffed my hands and legs. They confiscated my phone. 5 detectives escorted me to my apartment and ransacked the place top to bottom, upside down, searching for incitement material. Obviously, they couldn't find a thing. They took me back to the police station for first interrogation that lasted 4 hours. In the first part, they presented each post and asked me, what did you mean? What was your goal? What do you think someone who read your post would understand? The second part of the interrogation was not really asking questions. You know, the technique is to install the answer inside the question and doesn't let the other person choose his own answer. For example, they asked me, as someone who justified the rapes committed by Hamas people on October 7th, don't you think that? They knew very well that I strongly condemned the atrocities committed by Hamas people, but that was their technique. Mm-hmm. After the interrogation was over, I was categorized a high-risk detainee. I was taken to the jailhouse in the Russian compound in Jerusalem in solitary confinement. Mm-hmm. The cell without windows. They took away my belt, my shoelaces, my watch. I wasn't allowed to take anything with me. They gave me 2 stinking blankets, and what
Yeah.
it's
Terrible.
how it feels in solitary confinement cell. I began to count the hours. On the next day, there was a court hearing, and the judge decided to extend my detention until November 13th. Every hour and a half, 2 hours, I did some physical training just to pass the time. On Sunday, November 12th, I was taken to a second interrogation, and they used the same technique, trying to put words into my mouth with leading questions. At some point, they said that my Facebook post where I oppose the killing of innocent civilians in Gaza, especially women and children, they said that my posts are just like the protocols of the elders of Zion. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
I am.
Yes.
I
Okay,
can't believe that's what they
it's
said.
one of the most anti-Semitic documents ever been written. Now, I'm history teacher as well as civics teacher, and I teach the protocols of the elders of Zion for years. That's 100 pages. So I asked the interrogators, did you ever read the protocols of the elders of Zion? There was no comment.
Mm-hmm.
I was taken back to my cell. The next day I was released, and I began my motion in the labor court against the municipality and the Ministry of Education.
Yes. So,
Wow.
but you were reinstated, so that's
Yes, yes,
good.
yes,
That's
yes.
good. You
Uh,
know, yes. So I want to ask you, like, while you were a teacher all these years, you saw in Israeli textbooks yourself that they prescribe the propaganda. So what are the things they're teaching Israeli children about Palestinians?
Um, like I said, in the curriculum textbooks and in most of the Hebrew literature, the Palestinians are presented as dangerous or evil or as stupid and ridiculous. That's
Okay.
the image of the Palestinians. Okay, I read it myself as a schoolboy and teenager.
Okay. So this has been long years, I guess.
Even those Israeli students, Jewish students who major Arabic language in high school, they don't major Arabic language in order to get to know the Arab literature, the Arab culture. They do it in order to get to know the enemy when they go to military service.
Wow.
Wow, that is something. So your own students, when you returned, did they welcome you back or how did they treat you?
Um, First of all, in January 2024, the district labor court issued a temporary injunction that ordered my immediate reinstatement and gave me back my license and posed $3,000 compensation on the municipality and the Ministry of Education.
Mhm.
So I went back to school. The principal didn't expect me, and when she saw me, she asked me to give her another 24 hours to prepare the school community. The
Wow.
students, the parents, I agreed. Okay. The next day I went to school was Friday, January 19th, 2024. On the day before, the principal called me and told me that she's anticipating a mass demonstration of students and parents outside the school gate, and she will take care of police presence and security unit of the municipality. When I got there that morning, there was no police, no security unit of the municipality. The demonstration took place inside the school.
Mhm.
I was literally under siege inside the teacher's lounge. Every time I tried to get out, the students cursed me, spat at me. Um, my own students refused to enter the classroom. And this was pretty much the situation between January 19th to January 29th, 2024. The municipality and the Ministry of Education appealed to the National Labor Court, and the National Labor Court decided to send the case back to the district court, but this time for a permanent injunction. And in the meantime, it set a time frame of 2 months between February 1st to April 1st. In this period of time, I wasn't allowed to enter into the classroom. I was to teach in front of an empty room, in front of the camera. They videotaped my class and they were supposed to broadcast it to the students. I did my share. I know now that they never broadcasted the classes I videotaped to my students, okay? In early April 2024, I won the court case again. The court issued a permanent injunction and posed compensation of $10,000, additional $10,000 on the municipality and $2,000 on the Ministry of Education. At this point, the Ministry of Education stopped, but the municipality appealed again to the National Court, and the appeal was rejected in mid-June 2024. The school year ended June 20th, so there was no point for me to go back. I went back to school for the next school year, September 1st, 2024. When I entered my classes, I saw the students.
Mhm.
There was tension in the air, so I told my students, look, you may have heard all kind of rumors about myself, but now you can talk to me directly. I have no problem to tell you the whole story. You can ask me whatever you want. I'll answer your questions, but let's not do it today. let's wait another month or two. I'll get to know you, you'll get to know me, and then I'll tell you the whole story. And they agreed. And the atmosphere improved dramatically. But there was there was one student, 10th grade, 15 years old. His class had two classes on that particular day, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. He refused to enter the morning class, but after that class, his friend told him that it was a wonderful class, so he entered the afternoon class. Now he's my best friend.
Oh, isn't that something? What a story.
Now he's
That-
my best friend. Wait, I have more. Um, uh, the day before yesterday, um, one of my classes had history exam, okay?
Mhm.
And all of the students um, have a right to take oral exam, okay? Everybody want me to give them the oral exam, but there's no way I can do that. The 30 students, okay? So we are four history teachers, so we split the students between ourselves. In the afternoon, I got the call from the principal. May, what happened? You have no idea what I'm going through in the last hour. I said, what happened? What did I do this time? Okay. She said that some students were very moved as they got back home, and they told their parents, "We wanted Meir to give us the oral test, not another teacher. How come Meir is a good teacher?"
Yes.
You
Wow.
know, the
Yeah.
year
Mayor,
before they
you're
wanted to grill
changing.
me up. This
Yes.
time, everybody want me to be the teacher of his child.
Wow, that is incredible story. I just love
Just
it.
just one more
This,
story, okay?
Okay,
yes.
Just
please.
one more anecdote. 2 months before the previous school year ended, the principal called me. What did I do? She said, "Look, there's a 17 years old boy that got in big trouble. He's doing drugs, he's selling drugs, he's also very violent. He hit a teacher. Uh, the police arrested him. Now he has electronic cuff on his leg to monitor his movement. The municipality put him in our school. Do you mind to be with him 2, 3 hours every day?" Now, I was very amused, after all the municipality did to me, of all the teachers in the municipality, they want me to be with that boy, okay? But I said yes. I mean, the boy never did anything wrong to me, so I agreed. Apparently, that boy is the nephew of the mayor of the municipality. Now he wants me to be with his nephew, okay? No
Mhm.
problem. The first meeting, good morning, how are you? Did you have breakfast? No, I bought him some breakfast.
Wow.
Tell me, what interests you? So we made a list of topics that interest the boy, and we decided that every meeting we would talk about one subject, we would explore the subject, we'll make a presentation, okay? The first meeting was about dogs, the second about cars, the third meeting was about motorcycle. When we built the presentation, he pointed a picture of Harley Davidson and he said, "I have this motorcycle." I said, "What are you talking about? It's $50,000. No, 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 no. I bought it for $3,000. How come? I bought a stolen motorcycle without a registration number. What? And where is the motorcycle now? The police took it. Why? I have no driving license. Are you driving without a license? I've been driving without a license for a year and a half. So this is the this is the boy, the nephew of the mayor of Petah Tikva, which which wanted to fire me and filed a complaint against me in the police station.
Yeah.
My
Isn't that
gosh, this
interesting?
is crazy.
This is so, but you know, with your stories, I can see how the soul and humanity wins at the end, you know? Right, Steve?
Yes, absolutely. Mayor, what's so beautiful though, are you able to share with your students as you teach? Are you able to incorporate uh, the humanity that we should see in the classroom and the true history? I don't think the Israeli schools are going to allow the teaching of the Nakba, but are there ways that you're able to try to share things to help the students to get a better idea, to have more compassion for Palestinians and the sufferings that they go through? Because after all, I mean, I have extended family from the Holocaust. I have a lot of friends that their family went through it. I'm sure you know as well. And so you would think after what the Jewish people went through in Germany, that when they came to Israel, that we would have enough sense not to do the same thing to the indigenous people of this land. And I use that word because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the interviews when I was listening to you, you used that very word, the indigenous people of the land. And that just moved my heart when I heard you say this.
Mhm.
Yes, well, first let me say that look, we killed the Palestinians for decades. We injured them. We confiscate their property, their waters. We demolished their houses. We cut down their olive trees. We put them in quarantine in Jewish holidays. And for most Jews in Israel, they expect the Palestinians to accept it. And if they don't, if they react violently to get the basic rights that they are being deprived of, they blame the Palestinians. If they don't accept this situation, the Palestinians are welcome to leave to other Arab countries. That's the basic view of the average Jew in Israel. If you come now to Israel, you walk out in the streets, okay, you'll get to hear two basic arguments. Some people think that we don't care that uh, women and children are being killed in Gaza in their thousands. After what Hamas did to us on October 7th, they deserve it. Other people say, who hold themselves to be liberal and humanistic, they say, it's too bad that we kill innocent civilians, but Israel is not responsible. It's all Hamas's fault. That's the two basic arguments you get to hear out in the streets. Look, last week I took the train from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Right behind me, there were two ladies speaking loudly. Everybody could hear what they were saying, and one lady said to the other, we should kill all the Palestinians in Gaza, eliminate Hamas. And the other lady said, and if your children were among the hostages, and the first lady replied, I'm not sure I would want them to come back. First, we have to eliminate Hamas. It's hard to understand the level of the brainwashing
Yeah.
that most Jews are going through the education system, through the mainstream media. They don't get to see what you get to see in the US or in Europe, okay? And I want to present some of the reality to them. Now, as for my students, I must say that this year they are willing to listen to what I have to say, which they didn't the year before. If I would say something positive about the Palestinians last year, they would explode, but now they remain silent and they listen.
Good.
One wonderful student said to me the other day, Meir, I love you. You are a wonderful teacher, but I completely disagree with you. This is this is, some advancement
I
over
think you're
time. Yeah,
so I think you're planting little seeds that might grow later. You know what I mean? But
hopefully,
is there
hopefully.
any more of you guys teachers or you are totally
Look,
alone?
when I got out of jail, I think I got more than 1,000 responses from fellow teachers, from principals. Most of them I don't even know, all of them off the record. Mayor, I'm with you, but I have children to support.
Hmm.
Mayor, I'm with you, but I'm paying a mortgage. Mayor, I'm with you, but my daughter is getting married. Mayor, I'm with you, but we just started to redecorate the house. They are all afraid to lose their job, to go through public shaming, to go to jail.
Yeah.
They are all afraid.
I
You
think
know,
you're
Mayor,
Thank you.
yes,
incredibly brave to
Thank
stand
you.
your ground. And at the end, it paid off for you. Look, you've been doing nothing but winning.
Look,
yes,
I would
yeah,
love to give up all this publicity, and stay.
yes. You
Yeah,
know,
I
I
know
don't.
even
for you.
I'm not looking for to be popular.
I know. I know
yeah,
you
and it's
now.
I'm
not
committed.
popular.
I'm committed to my students, not to the government.
Right.
Yes,
And to
amen. I
truth.
like
And to
this.
truth.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm.
Well, you know,
I'm. I'm a
it was
civics teacher. I'm not a socialization agent of the government.
Right. Right.
yes,
I think you're a very unique and incredible person
Thank
Mayor.
you.
and an
One thing
incredible
I will say,
example to others.
Thank you.
yeah, one thing I want to share with you is even here in America, I know two teachers in particular, and I won't mention their names, but they both have said to us that if they dare stood up for Palestinians, they would be immediately fired from their positions. That's American schools.
Yeah.
That's how much power that APAC has placed on the Congress and Senate in the United States, in so much that even individual states now are putting that pressure on them. Like yourself, I 100% stand with you. What Hamas did was absolutely atrocious. Uh, I know that when this all
Don't get
happened,
me
I had so
wrong.
many.
Don't get me wrong, Stephen. I won't be sorry if Hamas movement will disappear.
Right.
Right.
But I
Yes.
think what happened on October 7th was not the collapse of the left strategy, but the collapse of the right-wing strategy. I never said that Hamas is an asset to the state of Israel, like Mr. Netanyahu or the Minister of Treasury, Bezalel Smotrich. I never approved the transfer of hundreds of millions of dollars to
Yes.
Hamas. And
Yeah.
why did he do that? Because he never wanted to go to a
A
real and
PLO
genuine
to get a
peace
state.
process with the Palestinian Authority, with Mr. Mahmoud Abbas. He wanted
Yes.
to empower Hamas, so Hamas would be a contra power and confront the Palestinian Authority, and Israel would be able to sit aside and watch them fighting.
Yes. And
You
that's
know, Mr.
exactly
Mir,
right.
did you know you are much more brave than any American teacher? Because American teachers here, and Israel is a foreign nation to America, right? But American teachers here are afraid to say what you just saying.
I should mention that besides of being high school civics teacher, I'm also an American history and politics professor, so I'm very much familiar with uh, the McCarthyism period of time in the early 50s. And I know some, I think that the new mayor of New York City is going to face a strong system of poison
Mhm.
financed by the billionaires of Wall Street, the Republicans, the Democrats, his own party.
Yeah.
okay, and the state of Israel. And I wish him luck. I wish he would be strong enough to stand this poisonous system he's going to face in the coming months.
Yes, that's
Very
certainly
true.
so. We
Very
are
true.
going to be watching.
And
So,
this is crazy. In Israel, the mainstream media and the politicians emphasize that he's Muslim. Okay, they never talked about the Jewish mayors of New York, like Ed Koch or Michael Bloomberg or Abraham Beam. Okay, nobody ever spoke about their Jewish identity, but the fact that Mr. Mamdani is Muslim, was a big issue in Israel in the past few weeks.
yes, yes. Well,
I like
that's
that. That's brilliant the way you said that because we don't normally think of it this way. It's normally, like you said, every politician that is Muslim, they immediately say, "Oh, they're Muslim. We cannot have this Muslim,"
They said the
But yet,
same about President Barack Obama because his middle name is Hussein.
mhm.
yes,
Yeah.
right. So, but when it comes to being Jewish, nobody says nothing about that, So you're right. It's wow. This is
I
nuts.
think that I think Israelis. I'm not a psychologist, but when I speak to some psychologists, when I read uh, psychological research, I think that as a collective society, we are somewhere between neurosis and psychosis. We are in a state psychologists called borderline. We are crumbling as a society, and frankly, I have no idea how we're going to come up out of it. We when this period will pass, what are we going to do with the piles of hatred and violence accumulated in these 2 years?
What do you
And
think of
that, yes,
international court that issued arrest warrant against Bibi Netanyahu? And of course, nobody acts on it, but there is a official arrest warrant for him for war crimes. So what do you think about that?
I have to admit, I don't have much respect to the International Court. And also what was it, 150 states that recognize the Palestinian state. I think it's all lip service.
Mhm.
I
yeah,
think that the international community should have interfered long time ago and end this conflict and the occupation, but they don't want to do that because the Israeli-Palestinian conflict uh, enriched the arms industry of the United States. It enriches the bankers. It
yes,
benefits the politicians.
Yes.
Mr.
What do you,
Netanyahu doesn't really want to eliminate Hamas because Hamas serves him politically very well. His whole political career is based on Hamas, based on the look. You don't win an election in Israel with peace and love. You
Mhm.
win an election with hatred and fear. And this
yes,
is
that's
what
true.
Mr. Netanyahu wants. He wants the Israeli citizen live in fear and hatred.
Yes.
That's what brings votes.
So, as you were talking about what you now have to live with the fact that so many Palestinians were killed and what's happening in politics, you have a extreme right-wing government. The Ben-Gvir and Smotrich are right-wing government who are using actual Bible as an excuse to do this.
Yeah.
I'm kind of watching what they're talking, how they're planning, and now West Bank as well. They're saying they're going to take West Bank, and so how do you envision Israel as a future for Israel? Because people around the world are waking up. And here in the United States, the young generation, surprisingly, the older generations, those evangelical Christians, they were all supporting all of this. They're supporting this violence,
I know that.
unfortunately. But we
Yeah.
have a young generation that's rising up and they are speaking up against all of this. So, how do you envision Israel among other nations in the future?
In the short term, I'm not very optimistic. I think things will get worse.
Mhm.
Things will get worse. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if there will be another political assassination, just like we had 30 years ago of the assassination of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. I wouldn't be surprised. The police will be much more brutal, not only to the Palestinians, but also to political activists, Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Um, in the long term, I think this whole situation requires anyone whose most basic intuition is to oppose any kind of superiority to rethink the fundamental questions of his identity. I think in at this time we must return to study and teach the basic principles of democratic system. And that's what I'm trying to do. I think that from the basic preoccupation with democracy and its weaknesses, we must recognize the suffering of the Palestinians and the right to self-determination.
Yes.
We all need a new story, but
Yes.
only if we understand the connection between the Nakba and the present can we write this story. We can
Yes.
begin to imagine a future in which the word we does not necessarily refer to one nation or ethnic group, but to Palestinians and Jews alike who share this intuition and strive for a life that has a common horizon in which Jews and Palestinians will live in this place in peace, equality, dignity, friendship, and cooperation.
That's
You are an
right. That's exactly
inspiration.
right.
You are an inspiration,
Thank you.
Mr. Meir, and
Yes.
incredibly brave man. More brave, as I said, than Americans, because a lot
Thank
of
you.
them won't even say that. They just want to be politically correct. And you stand your ground. You even went to jail. You didn't care. You still stood your ground. And I am just happy you came out victorious. It's just what you deserved to come out victorious and stronger, and that you won some other students for your own.
Influencing them for being just and fair to
Yes.
people and not to look down upon Palestinians as if they're less or that they're animals or something. They're not. They're human beings, just like we are.
And I
Yes,
want
but
to thank you so much for being who you are. It
thank you.
feels very refreshing that people like you exist in Israel.
Thank you so much, Yana.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Very, very, I'm so happy that you stood your ground like this. Very brave man. And so I had one more questions and I'll give it to Steve to kind of wrap it all up. But my question for you would be, so I just want to clear it up. What's your vision, your ideal situation that you would want? Okay. Do you want a two states or you just want one state Israel where Palestinians and Jews live as equal people?
Uh, these are the two options, okay? Each options, each option has advantages and disadvantages. Those who are talking about the two-state solution talk about the borders of 1967, the Green Line. The two-state solution requires the evacuation of what is it, 700,000 settlers in the West Bank. I can hardly see that happening, although French former President de Gaulle evacuated more than 1 million French settlers from Algeria. And he almost was assassinated by his own people. The one-state solution talks about one state for two people, equality, everybody are equal rights. However, after more than 100 years of conflict and so much hatred and bitterness, there would have to be an enormous change of the education systems and cultural systems, and it's a big project.
Yes.
And I fail to see in other side the leaders that would supervise such an operation. But I don't care which option will prevail ultimately. All I want is the end of occupation. All I want is the end of bloodshed.
Yes.
It would be enough for me for the moment, you know. We won't hug and kiss each other, but as long as we stop killing each other, that would be enough for me for the moment.
Well said. Really appreciate you. Go ahead, Steve. You can finish up this conversation. It was very, very nice to have you here. What a pleasure and honor.
Thank you.
So, very much so. Meir Baruchin, Israeli civics teacher and professor of American history, living in Tel Aviv. It's a little after probably 10 o'clock his time tonight. I'm sure Sunday for Israelis is the first day of the week, so he probably has to go to work tomorrow.
I
But
need to
we
get up early.
so much. Yes. Mayor, thank you so kindly for taking the time out with us here to do this interview and to share with the world there. We have listeners all over the world and about a little over 400,000 subscribers just here. So we can't wait for our listeners to be able to hear from an Israeli the things that you've shared with us today. And we'd love to be able to have you back on in the near future as well.
And where
My
can people
pleasure.
find you? Like
My
if they want to, are you
um
open to it?
my Facebook page is locked only for my friends, but anybody can can text me through Messenger.
Okay. Okay. So they
And
can
they can
find you on
actually
your
It's
Facebook.
follow your
it's
Okay.
Meir
page, right?
Baruchin, Meirbaruchin.
Yes. Well, thank you again. It was a pleasure and an honor to have you. I hope you will have a wonderful night, and I wish you a blessed
Thank
tomorrow.
you and have a wonderful day.
Yes,
You
thank you.
too now. Bye bye,
Bye.
Mayor.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
All right. So he's dropped. I'm gonna hit stop.